You are listening to the Hammersy Brothers e-commerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Yes, well. Yeah, I'm very well. Happy November, Black Friday, nearly. 17th of November when we record this.
It's heating up. It's heating up.
Yeah, get Black Friday'd out.
I know, yeah.
It's to be honest, it's most people are having good Novembers.
Did we have our best weekend ever last weekend? Is that would be fair to say?
I mean, it sounds a bit. You know when you're doing well is when you have to turn the Shopify ding off. You know when it becomes, oh my god, this is so annoying, that ping.
So annoying to be so many sales.
Ding bing, and then you turn it off when you know. You crave that noise, don't you? When you're starting out,
at the beginning,
crave that. Oh my god, got a sale, and then it just you got to turn it off.
Yeah, the only one I turn on now is the ding from my son's website, because when he gets a sale, I'm like, hey, he's got a sale. It's really exciting. But he had to turn everything off because he's doing his exams and he was getting pulled into it. And it's like,
he's got your final year business bottlenecks.
Final year exams is like, perhaps you should just wait till Thursday and then do it after that. So he's being pulled in. Anyway, we're doing the offers. We're doing the offers today, and we're on to the second offer. So these are the 5 main offers of e-commerce. What shall I recap? What the 5 offers are, so we can see where we are in the series. Just need to find the thing where we say what they are. I've forgotten which order we've done them in. Hang on, let's see where we go. I know the first one was the recruitment offer, and the second one, here we are. And the second one is getting the second sale, the second offer for the second sale, and then peak offers, seasonal offers, Black Friday offers, and then reactivation offers. So those are the 5 we're going to go through.
Could you just say that again? Because you just said loads of words in one go. Then just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So 1 is the recruitment offer, getting first-time customers. Number 2 is getting the second sale, the offer that gets the second sale. The third one is general retention, like what's your retention offer for general customers. Number 4 is peak offers, like when you're doing a mid-season sale or Black Friday. And the 5th one is reactivation. It's basically like a win-back offer overall. So we're going to focus on the second sale today, and we're going to go into that in a little bit of detail. Obviously, there's no point getting the second sale if you're not getting the first sale. So we're assuming that you're swimmingly going along and getting lots of first sales. So, do you want to introduce a little bit whilst I take my jumper off? Because I just like to let you know, Ian, that it is incredibly hot in New Zealand at the moment. How's the weather in the UK?
It's cold. It's very cold. It's 1 degree this morning.
Is it? Gosh.
Yeah, 1 degree. Yeah, we couldn't. Yeah, it has been a while since we talked about the weather. We need to talk about the weather a bit more. This is my comfortable place.
People don't know what they're missing out on. Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
it's a joy.
So bring it back.
Yeah, the second sale.
Bring it back.
So bring it back. So the second sale. I mean, the if you go right back to the core of what we've talked about for the last, however long, 10 years, 20 years. We used to talk a lot about the offer architecture of the business, and it was one of the kind of it's some of the foundational, because we've had great success in growing e-commerce businesses by going in and looking at the offer architecture. And so the second sale is really, really key in looking back over the years. The businesses that have really taken advantage of this, the ones that have really, really scaled, and we've just done the second sale offer architecture in the level 2 members area, but we're redoing it. It's so important that we're redoing it, and we're just about to relaunch it. So this as we were doing it, it was hot off the press. We thought we'd talk about the top level. Nutriford, because it's one of those real deep commonalities of understanding that across all e-commerce businesses, it's kind of like something you can really get right. And if you go back to the core of what we talked about with the five types of e-commerce business, like the compounder and the seasonal specialist, the second sale, you'd think that the second sale. So if you look, I'm going to read some businesses out that we've worked with for years: Cornish Seaweed, Goat Milk Stuff, Health.com, Cox Cox, and they are all slightly different businesses, but each one of those has something really special to say about the second sale and how it's really part of their growth. So Cox Cox, for example, which we'll talk about first, everybody knows Cox Cox. Probably, it's a big homeware retailer in the UK. Really nice brand, quite a simple model, really. But one of the things that we realised about the second sale for them, and this was probably when they were doing about 10 million. This was quite a long time ago. Now they're doing much bigger than that, and then they went bigger and they went a bit smaller. But one of the things we realised about Cox Cox is that second sale came in quite soon, and so people were buying something for their home, and they'd be buying the wicker basket or whatever, or they'd be buying the table or the chair, and they essentially said, "I am doing up my house, so I have a 6-week period when I am actively in the mode of doing up my house for whatever reason," and we knew that we'd have a much greater chance of increasing the lifetime customer value within that 6-week period. Like not, massively increased opportunity, because they would be buying a table or a desk or a sofa. We knew that they're in the mode of improving the house. So that was a massive game changer. And rather than thinking, oh, they've just bought, we're not going to hit them again because we don't want to annoy them, which is what some people do. They say, well, they've just bought, they're not going to buy again, I don't want them to unsubscribe. We would totally flip it the opposite way, and we would go, we've got 6 weeks to get the most revenue we can, and after that period, they've moved on. Their life has changed. They're buying a skiing holiday, they're buying a camper van, they're going on a holiday, the kids are going to university, whatever. Life's getting in the way. So we have that really hot period where they're much more likely to buy, and you see that time and time again in homeware businesses where they are, you have this active buying period. Now that's an example of the most easiest way we did to increase the lifetime customer value for that business. If we tried to get them to buy in 6 months' time, it didn't work. So that's an example of getting a second sale. The other examples where, Health.com, Goat Milk, Cornish Seaweed, any of those type of businesses where you're selling a health supplement, or a health beauty type supplement, they're compounder businesses where we can aggressively recruit on a very low ROAS because the margins are high, but we can only do that if we have a lifetime customer value coming in. And these businesses, we worked out that that if they were going to buy a second time, and it's the same with Grenade. So look at Grenade, the work we've done with Grenade. I mean, Grenade are doing mega millions now, and it's exactly the same thing. If we get the second sale, the magic wand of lifetime customer value is if they're going to buy twice, they tend to do so quite quickly within a 4 to 6 week period, and the chances of them buying a second time dramatically fall off a cliff the longer you leave it from the first order onwards. So if they don't buy within that first 6 week period, they're almost gone. They almost don't come back. It's not that start, but if you get them to buy in that second period, that sort of 5 to 6 week time, the chances of them becoming a much more loyal customer go on and on and on and on. And we did a whole series of days, like from day 1 to day 20, do this, day 20, do this, send the SMS, send the direct mail. We did a whole series of the perfect sequence for those compounded type businesses of how to get the second sale. And it makes sense. It's obvious when you go through it. But anyway, that's what I wanted to introduce it as.
Yeah. So rule of thumb, what I do is essentially what we're saying is go with the flow of the river. Like with any business, you can't change customer behavior massively in terms of what they don't want to do. So if you've got a wedding dress business, you can't try and get them to buy another wedding dress after 2 months unless things have gone really wrong. But effectively, what I look to basically say, well, if someone's going to buy again, at what point has 80% of people who are going to buy again bought? And that's a kind of good KPI, kind of like not a KPI, like a measurement to say where that is. So if yours is really short, if it's in the next 30 days, 80% of people are going to buy again or bought again in the next 30 days. That changes it compared to if you're like selling water filters, for example, where 80% are going to buy again, don't do so until you've got 24 months. So that's the first thing to look at is how are your customers buying, how are they buying. Second thing to look at is, does it change by category? Or do you have massive differences between categories? Are there some categories that like do have repeat buying and it's much shift, or are there some ones that don't? Like someone buying a sofa, for example, if you're selling homeware, you're selling sofas, and then maybe you're selling vases, that's probably very different, like the way that those products are going to interact. So is there some segmentation that needs to be done? I don't particularly like saying segmentation because most e-commerce businesses don't need to get involved in segmentation, but like that's the obvious thing that I would look at. And then you effectively, you want to go with the flow of the river, and you want to start thinking about how the customers buy and incentivizing more people to do what they want to do.
Let's just take, because the whole point of this podcast is to talk about the offer architecture. Okay. So we're saying, well, when we say offer architecture, we mean what's the the total offering? How are you going to treat these are first-time customers differently. So you've got your prospects, and they've just come in, they've bought. How are you going to talk to those new customers in a way that gets them to act? And that's the first realization, is that they've come on board, and you need to welcome them into the business with open arms, to say, we're so proud to have you here. And it's the messages that you do so, because they're hyper responsive. They've just gone through the process of buying. They trust you. They've bought. They're new. They want to feel that they're special. And the mathematical reason of this is also just worth noting. The mathematical reason is that if you don't get the second sale, or in some respect, if you don't get any repeat customer off them, so if the customer's only buying once, your only avenue to grow is to go back to Meta or back to Google or both, and spend a load more money on advertising. And so, if you think, that's my choice. So let's say you've got a cost of acquisition of £30. That's your first acquisition cost, £30. That's my CAC. And if they don't buy again ever, I've got to go back to Google and give them £30 every time, or Meta £30. So you want to take some of that £30 and give that to your customers. So it might be that your second offer is if you sort of think, well, I've either got to give £30 to Google or Meta, or I can give some of that to reward my first-time customers to get them to buy a second time. So think about it from a mathematical perspective. I would rather give my customers a good deal, rather than giving it back to Meta and Google, again and again for the first time. So that's kind of why we want to do it. But I don't think you need to overcomplicate it. I mean, some of the best offers that we've ever done are really simple, and often they're the same. The famous story that we always just talked about was the White Company, and the White Company was 20% off welcome. That was their first offer. It was welcome, 20%. That was their recruitment offer for first-time customers. And their second order was a VIP 20. And I remember one day being in the office, and we used to test, obviously, sent to everybody's offers, everybody's email to get the postcards. And I had 2 postcards that arrived at the same time with different names on it, like, Test Hammersley and Test 2 Hammersley, and one of them was for prospect, and it was it was welcome 20, and one of them was a first time customer, and it was VIP 20. Same offer, just a different wording. One was VIP and one was welcome, and so you don't have to reinvent the wheel with it.
It's how you position it, isn't it?
It's how you position it.
Yeah,
and keep it simple.
Also, how you position it and when you want to be visible. Like, if when you need to be visible, because that's when your customers are most likely to buy, and how you position it so it makes it feel relevant to them. That's half the battle. The underlying offer, it's not necessarily less important, but it's only one leg of the store, isn't it? It's only one leg of the store. If you just went, hey, Ian, here's 20% off, and it was just randomly sent out, but it's got to be positioned basically, well, hey, Ian, I know you've this type of buyer, you've bought this amount of times, therefore you're one of our VIPs, so let me offer this. And by the way, we know that people tend to buy by this date, so just to let you know, it's going to run out in the next couple of weeks. And so if there's anything you want to buy now, now's the time to do it. You earned it.
It would be like a very good customer service agent in a store, like a personal shopper. Let's say you're going into a high-end, Harvey Nichols fashion store, or or even higher than that, where you're getting a personal shopper experience, and they're dressing you, and they would look after you. You'd expect to be treated, and they say, "Hey, Mr. Hammersley, there's actually the designer brand of shirts you like. They've just launched a new range. It's come out. It's their spring summer collection. Honestly, I think it'd be absolutely perfect. I've got one. It's just bloody good customer service. It's really good, and it needs to be positioned like that. It isn't. It is. And if you do it right, it should be positioned like that. That's what it should be.
Another thing that we do with the second sale is we try and make the customer feel like they've earned something and we've given them some money. Like as if, so I say, Ian, you came and bought something from my guitar store, and when you bought your guitar, you actually earned yourself $30 off. And so that's your money. By the way, that $30 that's your money, that runs out on Tuesday. Is there anything you want to use your money on before Tuesday? And that works from a psychological point of view, because effectively it's like the fear of loss, isn't it? Like if I came and gave you $30, it's very different if I came and took $30 out of your wallet, because you're like, $30 out of my wallet, that's my money. But if you gave you $30, you'd be like, I don't care about $30.
Yeah,
I'm a multimillionaire. I don't care.
It's a really good example, because what you're really, quite a few businesses have come to us over the years and said, hey, we've got this loyalty point program. We've got this loyalty point program, and we think it's going to be amazing. And they launched this loyalty point program thinking that that's going to be my answer to my lifetime customer value, and I'm going to recruit more new customers in the first place, and I'm going to get them to come back and buy. And they launched this loyalty point program, and nothing happens. It doesn't work. And that's quite common. And it's not because there's something fundamentally wrong with offering people loyalty points, but it's not positioned in a way that the customer understands or cares about. And I think what you've just said really is, what the point of doing a loyalty point offer is to do a reward, but often it's you've got 5,810 points. I don't know what the bloody hell it means, and I think you're better off just giving them something they understand. Knowing that people have the attention span of a 5-year-old in some cases, because they're busy and they're just not interested in your fucking loyalty points. It's too convoluted. They don't understand it, and you're much better off doing a very simple, monetary amount. Here's £50 to spend on your second order, or here's whatever your average order value is. I think it's worth saying as well that the whole offering of the first time, second offer, and the subsequent offers, it's got to be built on a strong foundation. And we teach people, if you've seen the series, and you should go and watch the workshops on the 6 dominoes of e-commerce, which is something that we talked about years and years ago, which is the foundation of how you build a credible brand built on trust and credibility, and addressing the job to be done or the anxiety. And the last domino is the offer architecture. So you can't just come and, like you say, whack an offer in there. It's got to be, because nobody cares about the offer unless you've demonstrated trust and credibility. And so the 6 dominoes of e-commerce is absolutely key. But the reason I think why Mark and I have had so much success in implementing the right offer architecture is because it's like often it is the final bit, that you can really get a business moving.
Well, a lot of the time you will go out to the market with a business model and you will start doing Google ads or you start doing Meta ads. You'll get a return on investment. You'll get a ROAS on the first sale. And then you'll be like, well, can't quite make it work at that ROAS. And so the difficulty is that you can't necessarily tweak the Google ads that much more, or the Google Meta ads. That you've got them all dialed in. So what you can do is you can say, well, if we got the second sale slightly earlier, like 10% earlier or 25% earlier than we've been getting it, and we increase the second sale average order value by 25%, that means that therefore our ROAS overall for the business goes up, which means we can live with that recruitment level. And so you want this. So it's like I always say with Google and Facebook, is like if you Facebook and Google as this 100-pound gorilla sitting in the corner of the room, and you go, I don't want you to sit there. I'd really like you to sit over here. It's like you can't move them. You can move other things. One of the things you can move is the second sale, how quickly that happens, and the size of it. That can make a really big difference. And so we're looking for things that bring the model together. And one of the things is the second sale and getting that right and bringing it earlier, making it bigger, making it happen more often. So those three things, if you can bring it earlier, make the average order value higher, and make it more likely to happen, those three levers actually combine to a huge difference in your frequency of stock turnover and your money turnover throughout the business, which makes a big difference as it moves forward. And so a lot of the second sale is also done, and I've taught this in a lot of the workshops on the level 2 program, is the delight that we have in the first sale. Because the first time we interact with a business, it will have lasting impacts across all the second sales. So we can do things in the first sale that we might not necessarily do in the second sale or the third sale and stuff, because it's like that handshake. Once someone feels like they know you and they've got an impression of you, they're very unlikely, that they're less likely to want to revisit it as much as they did on the first one, because in their mind, they've done the work. They've gone, I know Ian, I like Ian now. So he's a good guy. He's my guy for this. And so it's that first impression that, so if you're getting bad second sales, you might want to revisit the experience of the first sale. So you might want to upgrade them to first class postage, or you make it quicker, or those kind of things, like just for the, might give them a free orange or whatever it is, or free gift with purchase. Like there's things you can do to make the first sale much more of an experience. And then you go, well, actually, now we've done that, we've got the second sale.
Yeah. And I think there's something magical happens when you get the second sale. And it starts to happen at the second sale is when people start to identify themselves as your customer. It almost becomes an identity, and it happens definitely from 2 to 3. But it started purchase, but it happens after the second. Like, I always buy my bedding from Bedding Envy. I always get my coffee from Volcano Coffee. I always go and get my vitamins from health.com, or always go and get my my face cream from, and it starts to become a like a tribe. And you buy into the brand, and it's that's where a brand comes from. And a lot of the times people don't understand where a brand comes from. Like, it's kind of this, like, people think that a brand comes from the way it looks, and the feel of it. It doesn't. A brand comes from getting people to buy your stuff over and over and over again and talk about it. And that's where a brand comes from. So you can see how we're our definition of what a brand is, and we really challenge people to what is an e-commerce brand, and because they go, well, it looks like Ralph Lauren, that isn't what a brand is. A brand is how you can. It's
your experience
your
with
tribe.
the whole usage of it. Like if Apple phones looked great and the packaging looked great and their advertising looked great, but once you got the phone, it was just horse crap. Like it wouldn't work, would it? The experience of the brand is how you actually build a brand over time, like constantly, every day, using the product.
The true test of a brand is, can you get them to go and buy 1, 2, 3? Like, can you get them to buy on repeat? And I don't mean all the time. I mean, obviously, you don't go buy an iPhone all the time, but you're in a cycle, and that's where a brand comes. So that's why we put great emphasis on doing the recruitment offer and getting the second sale offer, because we know if you get that right, you are on the way of creating a brand, which is what we want. And why do we want a brand? We want a brand because it adds trust and credibility, and it lowers the cost of acquisition and allows us to scale the business in a much more efficient way.
Yeah. And it does build, doesn't it? If you look at some of our businesses, that will start off with a low ROAS going in it, and you'll see this customers come back, some customers come back, and then the second year it becomes much easier, and then the third year it's even easier. Like, you're just building this wave of brand loyalty within your house file that when you do, because obviously you got the second sale, and then the other offers we talk about is when you actually monetize and you get profit out of your house sales, like the Black Friday sales and those kind of things as you come through. So it kind of works all in combination with each other. But in someone's mind, someone who's bought once compared to someone who's bought twice is a big jump. It's a big jump from how they feel about you as a company. And so, like, we do a lot to get that second sale earlier, faster, bigger, and more often than we would. And so, just summing up, first of all, we look at how it's bought. Then we look at how we can incentivize that behavior. We look at how it affects the model, how much incentive money we can give that person compared to what we need to do to kind of recruit a new customer. And we just start pulling those levers until the whole box of the model, the numbers sheet, makes sense. And simple as that.
Easy.
It's all good. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
So if anybody wants to talk to us about getting the second sale, and you're sitting here listening to the podcast, just book a strategy call with us, and we'll dig into it with you, and we'll see what you're doing, and whether or not you're leaving a lot of money on the table, which most people are, to be honest, with the second sale. It's one of the big areas you can pull. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mark. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.